Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And for all you financial enthusiasts out there, I've got Audrey Faust, MBA. She's a business financial coach. Today's talk is going to be all about mindset, profitability, finance, and it's going to be a great discussion. And I'm happy to welcome Audrey to the show. Welcome, Audrey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So start off by telling us about your background and how you can help the audience.
I'm sure I've been in the finance world, accounting world for over 25 years, mainly helping small businesses. I started with a done-for-you service where I was working in accounting and CFO work, and now I've kind of transitioned over into coaching small business owners to understand the financial part of their business and also conquer that pesky mindset that tends to get in the way.
Yeah, I really love that. And so, we'll talk about first thing, because you talked about mindset, and I'm always fascinated with the strategies that people use for optimal performance. So, talk about integrating transformation with financial strategies.
Okay. Well, money mindset is what I often focus on, and many business owners have a mindset around money that was ingrained in them when they were young. And through my neurocoaching certification, I learned that we have 80,000 thoughts per day. 95% of those come from our subconscious, and our subconscious was formed when we were a child. So prior to the age 7. So we carry around all the things we heard and saw from when we were a child that focuses around money. So depending on what your family upbringing was, you bring all of that stuff with you moving forward, and it can hinder your business decisions without you knowing it.
Yeah. And what are some of the most common feelings, thoughts, perceptions around money that sabotage entrepreneurs?
One of the most common ones is that you have to work hard for your money. So that is one of the most common things, mindsets that people have to overcome. I myself had to overcome that. I remember as a child, my mother would say, we work hard for our money. And in turn, my brain internalized that as I have to work hard for my money. So working hard for your money, especially when you're an entrepreneur or business owner, leads to burnout, right? Because then you just think work, and I'm going to make more money and more money and more money. And that's not always true, right? Sometimes you just need to work smarter instead of harder.
I love, yeah, that was my follow-up question. I was like, well, if you don't work harder, then how do you? But it's interesting how you say work smarter, and then your brain and your RAS figures out a way to kind of navigate around it. Kind of moving on, this idea of, working hard for money. What about the feelings of guilt and shame around money? What are some common perceptions around these feelings and how it hinders entrepreneurs?
Well, especially female entrepreneurs, because we're actually the first generation of women that could have access to money. Female business owners could not get a business loan before 1988. Females in general could not get a credit card before 1974. So being the first generation we put shame and guilt on ourselves as women because we don't know, right? Or we put shame and guilt around ourselves as business owners because we don't know, because we were never taught, right? You went to school I know your audience is lawyers and physicians. You went to school to be a physician or a lawyer. You really weren't taught the business part of it, the financial business part of your business. So it's, harder to but you think you should know. I come across so many, especially women, that are like, I think I should know this, but how would you know if you were never taught it, right?
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because in med school, like we're just taught to be the best med students and the best doctors, and and then not really taught about money. But it's really interesting if you look at 10 years, 15 years out, the best, the most, the I hate to say richest ones were not necessarily the smartest ones. They just learn different things, what to do with their money, as opposed to working just hard, as you talked about. So kind of moving on, we kind of talked about mindset. The next question is, so this this aspect of financial literacy, and you talk about breaking free and empowering women. What is that? How do you do it? What does it look like?
When I coach women, I break it down into simple, make it simple, right? A lot of women or people in general get afraid of the numbers. They don't even know what to look at. They don't know how to read financial statements. They don't know why they should read financial statements. So they're not reading them at all. And your financial statements actually tell a story about your business. I always say it could be a nightmare or it could be a fairy tale, but you don't know what it is if you're never looking at them. So, or you don't understand them. So the way I help them is understand the financial part of their business. And I create a blueprint with my clients, my one-on-one clients. We create this blueprint that gives them the clarity they need and just makes it so simple to look at this like one page blueprint that is just like, oh, now I get it. Like, here's where all the money's going. And, it's not just like a profit loss statement. It is that plus more. Like, how much do you want to make? How much do you want to bring home? Like, we factor all those things in. So, we go from here to there. This is where you are. This is where you want to go. And then we figure out how they're going to get there. So, and it's all in the numbers, right? And most of the people I work with want to scale and grow their business. So you need to kind of understand where you're at to get where you're going, right? Get where you want to go, and make it all work out financially.
Yeah. The other kind of a follow up, because you're talking about all the numbers and you talk about the path to profitability. And so, talk about what the key components of this path is and how to get confident in finance, especially for female entrepreneurs.
So the path to profitability is a 3-stage process. One, I work on the mindset. Next, we work on the plan and the blueprint. And then third, we work on understanding all the financial pieces of your business. So once you get through those stages, you can completely understand and take it forward, empowered, and be empowered around your numbers. So you can run your financial reports every single month, look at them, know how much do I need to save for taxes, what's my monthly number I need to get to every single month in order to make sure I meet everything that I'm going to need, like all of those things. Does that answer your question? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, for a coach and with your system, just kind of so it was interesting to walk us through the key component of your program. What kind of next is, what advice would you give the women entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey, and what should they be looking at, focusing on? Tell us more.
Yeah. So first of all, don't be afraid of the numbers, right? And educate yourself around them. Second of all, if you're just starting out, make sure you keep it separate. So many business owners I talked to in the very beginning, they're commingling their personal money with their business money and their personal credit cards with their business credit cards. A simple thing you can do to keep it straightforward if you're just starting out is get a business credit card and get a business bank account, and make sure it's separate. So you're not kind of commingling personal and business and running personal business expenses through your business and all the other things. That way, like if it's that clear and you have the bank account and the credit card, I'm only putting business expenses here, I'm only using this account for business expenses. It makes your life so much easier than like coming to the end of the year and trying to figure out what was business, what was personal, what was, and trying to figure out like you're going to miss something or several things if you do it that commingle things. Plus, it's also a liability issue. If you create an LLC to protect yourself from like lawsuits and things like that personally, if you start commingling the funds between personal and business, it nullifies the legal part of that LLC. So there's that too.
Yeah, very interesting. Let's see here. Talk about, I think we have around, 3-4 minutes. Talk about, this idea of, checking in, like almost like a dial, like always checking in, and how much more successful business owners are if they look at their financials monthly or weekly, even daily.
Yeah, so there's a statistic from the Small Business Organization that businesses are 80% more successful if they're looking at their financials on a monthly basis. And I had somebody ask me once, well, what if I look at them every day or every week? Does that make me even more successful? And I thought about that question for a while, and I was like, well, really, you're not getting the entire picture if you need to look at 1 month at a time, and then 1 quarter at a time, and then 1 year at a time, right? And then compare it to the prior year. If you've been in business for several years, that month to that same month the prior year, like it gives you a lot more information and a lot more things to look at. And when I say look at your numbers, you're not just looking at your revenue. You're looking at your expenses. You're looking at your cost of sales or cost of goods sold, and like just checking in with, does this number look like it's good, right? I worked with a client where he was multi 7 figures, and we looked at his, like in his industry, he knew a lot of what the standard numbers were. And he knew like his payroll should be a certain percentage of his revenue, and his cost of goods sold should be a certain percentage of his revenue based on his industry. And every industry should have a standard like that. So when we looked at that, we saw his cost of goods sold was above industry standard, and his payroll was actually a little bit below of industry standards. So we worked really hard to bring down his cost of goods sold, and I think we reduced it by like 20%. It was crazy. And then he actually hired a little more staff because he didn't want his staff running away because they were getting worked too hard based on his revenue. So, I mean, those are types of things that when you look at your numbers and you know your industry standards, like you can make decisions for your business.
Yeah. So, I really enjoyed this conversation. And how can people contact you and find you and follow you?
Thank you. Yeah, I have some free resources, including a free workshop coming up in August where I'm going to be going through the 3 financial reports that you should be looking at: your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your cash flow every single month. So there's a link at Audrey Faust Consulting /free-resources. And there's a link in there to sign up for that free workshop if you want to learn and understand more about your financial well-being of your business. You can ask questions on that workshop as well. It's a 3-day challenge, actually. And every single day, we're going to be looking at one financial report and answering any kind of questions you have. And I'm going to show you how to look at it, how to read it, how to understand it. So, and there's some other great free tools on my website. There's a money mindset audio that you can see where your money mindset is. There's some questions and how to reprogram it, and also some really cool calculators.
Yeah, excellent. And for all the audience, be sure to give Audrey's socials a like and follow. And thanks so much for coming on.